Now we're going to set up our workbook. So we've got a few pieces of information about the data and a few sort of named ranges which are going to help us in our coding stage to refer to the correct pieces of data and also help us keep our code generic. So let's name these ranges first of all. So let's call this X data, because football is going to be on our x-axis. Let's name this Y data, and let's name this Z data. So you may have noticed I've deliberately chosen for these two ranges which have got a blank row in the top, so we just need to be cognizant of that. Let's take our months and call them months, and then let's put a few named ranges down here. So let's count the number of series that we've got and the number of months, and let's use count A to, although that's a little bit redundant at the moment, it might prove useful if we were ever to expand the number of series. And do a similar thing for the number of months, and then let's call gaps, which is the number of gaps between each data point that we want to interpolate between. And let's name these ranges. So that one can be gaps and delete pre-filled for us. That one can be month. I'll call it month count actually, because month's a bit of a reserved word really. And let's call this series count. So that's fine. And let's eventually get into our code. So we may end up putting this chart on another worksheet. So what we want to do is, first of all, let's work in a module. So let's have global as worksheet, and let's have global variable for the number of months. That can probably be an integer. The global variable for the number of gaps, so that certainly can be an integer. And then we want two arrays, one for just the main points, so those are the ones that have got real values in. Let's use double for that because it's going to be numbers, which may well involve decimals. And let's call this all points, because this will include the subpoints between them as well as the main points. Let's also have a range for our X data, and let's do the same for Y and Z, and we might come back, add some more variables in there, but let's have a sub-procedure called initialize. So in here we're going to initialize global, not initialize, so set values for global vars and fill arrays. So let's first set our worksheet. So the worksheet is the data worksheet, and let's set these ranges. So range x is equal to ws dot x data, we called it, and as well just copy that for y and z. Always got to be careful when you do copy and paste to make sure you go back over and change all the necessaries. So that's x, y and z ranges set, and let's fill these months, and so we want series in there as well. So as well like that. So goes to start series count, I think we called it. At months equals to start months count. I'll check that. And what else we got? Int gaps equals ws gaps, I think it was. Could have used a with statement. Could maybe use a with statement here. Let's just check all that works. So let's see what I did call it. That's not great. Month counts. So let's change that to month count. Back to our code, month count. Yeah, okay, we're off and running. Next, we're going to go about getting our data into arrays, and I like to do that by first of all putting the values into variables. So we'll call those x, y and z before transferring them into the array. It's not strictly necessary, but it helps me keep track of things whilst I'm debugging. Let's also, we can now redimension our array main points. So the first dimension is, which we can envisage as the number of rows. So we've got x, y, z. Let's put the x, y and z categories there. So that'll be 3. I'm going to display, I'm going to dimension, I'm going to set option explicit, option base as 1 shortly. So the number of rows is that, the number of series is held in series count, and the number of months our final dimension. So we've got a three-dimensional array now. So if you like to picture these sort of things, I like to think of them as a worksheet. So these are the rows down the worksheet, these are the columns across the worksheet, and these are worksheets within a book. So if you imagine you have 10 worksheets within a workbook, then each one of these represents a separate worksheet, if you like. So, and let's also hamstring ourselves a bit by saying option explicit as well, because we might be working across different modules and we don't want to accidentally have a out of scope variable or a mistyped variable name coming in somewhere. So we're going to have to loop through these data sets, and so we're going to need some variables to loop through them. So that's the first one. It will be a counter for our number of dimensions that we've got in our array, which is 3. The second one for the number of series, and the third for the number of months. So for int, actually we maybe not need the number of series. For series equals 1 to int series count. Oops. And for int month equals 1 to int months. So double x is going to be equal to range x dot cells. So and series, oops, and yeah, int series plus 1 and int month plus 1. Sort of regretting setting that range the way I did now, but I think it's okay. So again, we've copied and pasted, so let's just be double sure that we've got everything where it should be. So next int month and next int series. Let's just run it without that, and let's put in a debug.print just stop that after the first one and Control G and have a look at what it's doing. So 22781. Let's just make sure that that's the first. That's that one. So that looks promising. Let's just let it fly through. Oh, it's colon there. Semicolon, sorry. Let's try that again. Right, so our last value is 19511. Let's just check that. Yeah. Right, so that's getting all our x's in, and if we keep it as we've done the same for each one, just double check double x, y and z. Yep, that's great. So let's put those, we didn't need this after all. Let's put those array main points. One will be, and then the int series in there, and the int month will be there, equals double x, and 2 will be there, 3 will be there, y and z. Let's just check that that one's excellent.